When we read in the opening verses of the Bible that God created everything perfectly, we might look around today and say, well, crap, what happened? In Christianity, the answer to that question is sin, specifically the original sin that started it all. But what is original sin, and how do we as Methodists make sense of it? Well, I'm Reverend Ian Collier, and this is 2 Minute Methodism. The doctrine of original sin comes out of the story of Adam and Eve in Genesis chapters 2 and 3. In this story, the first humans are placed in a perfect world, but they reject it and reject God so that they can make themselves more powerful. Theologians note two things that happen here. The first was that humans incur a debt to God. You see, we owe God perfect obedience as our creator. And the actions of our first parents mean that our human family owes to God something that we are unable to repay. Because even if we were to perfectly follow God's will, all that means is that no new debt is created. That family debt is still there. And we all know that we don't perfectly follow God's will. The second thing that happens is that when we tried to put ourselves in charge, we actually damaged our nature, almost like a self-inflicted spiritual injury that we pass on to our kids. You see, every part of human nature got infected with selfishness. And since we were the caretakers of creation, that injury, that infection, seeped out to infect everything else. If God hadn't done anything, we would be totally depraved, which is church language for being morally up a creek without a paddle, just downright wicked. But the good news is that God didn't leave us there. In Jesus, the human debt was paid in full for all past and future sins. We don't have Adam's guilt on us or our own guilt on us anymore. And God also never leaves our nature totally broken. Before we are even aware of it, God's grace whispers in us through our conscience to teach us right from wrong. And then Jesus gives us an example for us to mirror in conduct, and the sacraments which empower us to be healed through baptism and Holy Communion.